this map is mapping involution process also?
Yes.
And how many steps for involution and how many for evolution?
38 out, 37 in. So
the last step, is it enlightenment or something like that?
the last step we could call enlightenment, where as we see how the whole organism functions, there's a spontaneous letting go of, and we feel this vastness that in a way is calling us into it, and there's a moment of falling into that vastness. In that moment there's no one experiencing that. It's only in the next moment as we come back, and we come back with an impregnation of that deep spiritual essence that we all come from. That, I would say, is the moment of true enlightenment. That's an instantaneous recognition, and then that unfolds over time as it's integrated into every aspect of our daily life. That takes time, but that initial deep recognition, I would say, is the moment of enlightenment, where we truly know beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is what I am, this is what you are, this is what everything is, and it, I would say, rewrites within us our view of the universe.
Did you reach the last step?
You know, I have a funny story for you.
Okay.
Some years ago, I took my son Sean camping, and it was early morning, and a bear was in our campsite, and we could hear it outside our tent foraging around, and my son was, really scared, and I said, don't worry, he's just after food, and we don't have any food out, it's all in bear boxes. And so we relaxed for a little while, and then I said to my son, I need to go out and go to the bathroom, I'll be back in a few minutes. So I got out of the tent and went some distance from our campsite, went to the bathroom, and as I was coming back, something summoned me to just sit down. And I sat down, and I came back. It's like I had been taken by that absolute essence. And in coming back, all the understandings just flooded in who I really am. So I spent some time just welcoming that in. And for me, it had been just a few minutes. And I went back to the tent, got in the tent, and my son was absolutely freaking out because I had been gone for like 40, 50, 60 minutes. And he thought I had been eaten by the bear, but I had been eaten by pure consciousness. And the thing I had to laugh at about it was, as I came back and sat there, the realization was, oh my God, I've always known this. But it's so simple. I had been looking everywhere else, and all of a sudden the simplicity of it just revealed itself. And that has stayed steady for many years now, that understanding, and just continues to deepen. And I'm fundamentally aware that as consciousness, for me the feeling is that consciousness has awoken to itself here, but I'm not in control. Consciousness could decide tomorrow, well, we'll just shut everything down again. That what we awaken to, fundamentally, we all already know. It's what we are all made out of, but for some reason, some of us go to sleep and never wake up. Some wake up and go back to sleep. Some wake up and stay awake.
So who decided? I or consciousness?
I would have to say there's only consciousness, so it's the play of consciousness itself.
But you have taken responsibility. You have escaping responsibility.
I would say I have escaped responsibility. Because when I look back, even at my earliest childhood, there were these flashes of insight that would just come. And then when it left, there was a deep kind of suffering to try to understand myself. Now, when I looked at where did those thoughts or emotions come from, all I was looking into was this vast openness. And I realized those thoughts would come to me, and something inside me would pick them up and act on them. So ultimately, I have to abnegate responsibility to consciousness. But because I am consciousness, paradoxically, I have to take full responsibility. Now, it's like I wake up in the morning and I'm just saying, okay, consciousness, what are we doing today? I'm in a way following my orders moment to moment, because I realize when I follow my orders, there's a beautiful sense of harmony. When my mind starts to take over and starts to split away from what life wants, disharmony starts arriving. That disharmony brings me back, and I stay with that felt sense of harmony. And so I have to say, I take no responsibility, and I take full responsibility, no abdication.
Do you know what is objective idealism? In philosophy, there is materialism and idealism. And through idealism, there is objective idealism and subjective idealism. Do you know? So, what's your theory is kind of objective idealism. The consciousness exists without you.
Consciousness absolutely exists. It has brought this form in with self-awareness, self-consciousness. But when this form goes, consciousness still is. It doesn't need a form.
So consciousness is independent from you.
Oh, no, no, no. It is, I am consciousness. You would be like saying the wave is independent from the ocean. I am the wave that momentarily arises, but I'm not separate from the ocean. I'm not separate from consciousness. I am consciousness itself, as you are, as the tree is, as the camera, as the bench I'm sitting on. It's all consciousness taking form that to the body, senses, and mind looks an appearance of separateness, but in fact is never separate.
Okay, in this case you are dependent on consciousness and there is no you. Like that?
Correct.
Correct.
There is no ultimately me that's separate, although there is a pseudo kind of an arising that can call itself.
Do you have free will?
No.
No. You think that you do not have. And human beings do not have free will. There's no stage where is human being has free will?
No. In the map, they have a beautiful word, itcha, which means will. But it's the will of consciousness.
Right. So how in this case you can help me, or what for all your technologies? If there is no free will, consciousness will do it itself anyway.
Consciousness is doing itself by bringing you and I together to help bring that understanding. It is the movement of consciousness that has brought you here, brought me here to this moment, or brings the person in front of me. It is consciousness that is asking the question, consciousness is responding. Now we fall silent. The why question can only lead ultimately to silence, because that is the mystery. We can tell a story, it's the play or the poeticness of